Good day, everybody. Franklin Lowe here, giving you one of many new infomercials that are not trying to sell you anything other than good health care for you. The individual, you may or may not be my patient, but you're a consumer that lives in America, so I'm really talking to you directly. You've heard me complain about multiple aspects of the American healthcare system for quite some time. And I've always said our government is creating some of the problems by making us do certain things, yet they're not giving us reassurances where they need it. And then the for-profit arm of medicine is taking full advantage of it in many different situations. Here's one small example, but it greatly affects my patients and greatly affects millions of other Americans. You may have heard about the recall on generic Valsartan by some manufacturers. That apparently some of the generics were made at a factory in China that doesn't have just one known carcinogen, but maybe now has two. I'll go back a little and tell the story and try and be as brief and to the point as possible. Divan is one of the ARBs. Just like Cozar or Hyzar or Avapro, there are many good angiotensin receptor blockers that we've had for 15 years now in America. Great blood pressure medicines that help you live longer, decrease disease to your body, and they are truly a remarkable category of medications. The brand name Divan was my drug of choice, what I started taking 9 or 10 years ago for my blood pressure. Divan comes in a bunch of different dosage forms, okay? Some are with one type of water pill, some are with another, some are with other medications, and we always had brand name Divan. It was a good drug. In 2012, the patent ran out and they allowed the generics to be made. Now, the generics in America in 2010, the average cost for a month of generic medication was $10. In 2015, the average cost was $65, the average cost for 1 month of generic medication. So if generics were supposed to help you save money, how did the cost go up by 500 or 600% in 5 years, 100% a year? Something's wrong with that picture. So then your pharmacy, rather your insurance company, sent you a letter that said, you're gonna save so much money if you tell your doctor to give you this generic medication. So, of course, they send me paperwork saying I need to save my patient and I'm being irresponsible if I don't. The doctor was paid a financial penalty or given a financial bonus to switch you to some drugs and paid a financial penalty if we did not switch you to generics. That was the way it was, and that's the way it is now in one form or another. So in 2012, many people that were on this brand of medicine, Divan or Divan HCT or X-Forge for their blood pressure, were told you need to be on Valsartan and Valsartan will work. In the summer of 2012, I had a gentleman that I took care of that was young, early 50s with a massive stroke, cerebral hemorrhage in the brain. In the ICU, I'm seeing him going through the medicine list. I see his generic version of the Divan, and it's Valsartan made by another manufacturer. I then noticed in my office, every time someone came in and they were previously stable on a certain dose of Divan, 80, 12.5, or 160, and they had good blood pressure, 115 over 70, they were coming to my office and they were 155 over 100. I said, oh, did you stop your medicine or why aren't you taking your medicine? You know, I like to scold you guys a lot. They were taking their medicine as prescribed, but they had been moved to the generic medication because they were told it was going to save them money, okay? I've started suspecting that something was wrong. I began sending patients to Canada in 2013 to a very good reputable pharmacy that could get the brand name medicine. Or when they had a generic, it seemed like it was exactly the same drug, the same efficacy. This continued for a few years until I could isolate the pharmacies close to me that were allowed to carry the good type of generic. For many years, people thought crazy Frank's sending people to Canada, like, how does he know what they're getting? And why would he be making me do that? And is that un-American to go to Canada, or is that illegal? The answer was no, it's not un-American, and no, it's not illegal. It's protecting you from the American healthcare system that said that generic medications only need to be within 20% of the brand name drug, 20% margin. You tell that to the police officer next time he stops you, that you were still within 20% of the speed limit. You tell that to your teacher, you tell that to the IRS when you're paying your taxes, okay? So then the articles started coming out. Long before the cancer scare, 18 months ago, came out the article that basically said users of generic medication experience more adverse side effects. And so I read this article carefully and said, aha, I wonder if they're talking about blood pressure medicine. And in the article, that's what they were addressing, blood pressure medication. And they were addressing what I prescribe more than anything, Valsartan. This is the rate of emergency room visits in the first 6 months or the first year after the drug was switched to generic. 11% of the people went to the ER, or 12%. Okay? After the commercialization of the product, the rates of adverse events increased. Okay? And it's different percentages for different drugs, and they have all these. Okay? So also Valsartan, which is why in particular about the type of Valsartan we need to switch you to. I prefer the Sandoz brand because it's efficacious and it's made in a quality situation. The generic users were being nailed. The doctor was being penalized or bonused fraudulently, unethically. So I just want you guys to see one prime example, one of many. I'm gonna wear my glasses so I can show you. Divan HCT 32025, generic. Okay, we'll cover the patient's name, but this is 32025, okay? And this is Valsartan by Sandoz. Here are the pills. This is the Divan HCT brand name. It says NVR CTI. This is the brand by Mylan. The Mylan CEO was the guy that was arguing with Congress and acting just as jerky as all the congressmen a couple years ago. And I'm not worried that it's a different pill shape or a different color or has a different logo on it. I'm worried that 12% of the patients ended up in the ER in the first year after they started this medicine. This is the brand you get from Canada. Now, and it says Sandoz Valsartan. Now, I'm not saying these are the exact same pill. And I'm not saying they're made in the exact same factory. And I'm not saying these two medicines are the same, but this was $250 in America. This one was $25 to go to Canada. So this was $5. But $5 to have an 11% chance you're going to the ER, I'll spend a little bit more money, please. So that's why I've always tried to adhere to the quality of medicine you're getting, the quality of the medication you're getting. All of those things are important. This is not just one example. There are many other examples in all the other categories. And like I said, the physician has been penalized if I did not try to switch you. An organization handed me a check for $5,000. They withheld that money from my pay for 18 months. And they said, Dr. Lowe, all you have to do is show us that you sent the letter, that it may benefit you to move these 10 patients to a generic drug. So they hold that over. After trying to break us as much as they can, that's what the insurance industry used to hold the leverage over us. One small part of what's wrong with the American healthcare system. For individuals that are my patients, please feel free to contact me directly. I usually send you all of this information, email format with my comments, and we've tried to make sure we've changed you to the appropriate generic, but at the same time, your responsibility to check your blood pressure and your heart rate. In this new age of medicine, I'm holding everyone, myself, you, the patient, to a higher level of medical knowledge and understanding. We just have to. If we're alive in this century and we're less than about 100 years old, we need to participate in our own health care. And if you're not my patient, please contact your physician directly about what product you're taking or talk to your pharmacist. They should give you honest information. Thank you.